Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to a special weekend edition of what are we on now? Faith, Family, Friends. I have my lovely wife, Amy Ackley, on today, and we thought that we would promote her new little business called Mama Bear's Kitchen. And so she's going to talk to us today about the genesis of that idea and encouragement that she's gotten. For the most part, I don't think it's been a discouraging word. Reminds me of that old song, Home on the Range, where the deer and antelope play, and seldom is heard a discouraging word. And the skies are cloudy all day. They've been cloudy here, and it's so muggy and warm. So, Amy, have you always wanted to do something like this, or is it just a new thing? And what kind of encouragement did you get toward that? Maybe growing up, your grandfather, who was quite a fruity guy, he didn't have a whole big orchard to sell commercially, but I know we had some fruit trees. So maybe you can kind of tell about how that may have affected you early on.
Okay. Good to be on the show as a guest.
As a guest, finally.
So I'm all hot and sweaty. I apologize. It is very muggy out here selling my jam. But anyway, when I was a child, my grandparents and my parents took us fruit picking. And in Michigan, we are blessed with all different kinds of fruit. Wow. And it just seemed like every time there was some kind of fruit to pick, my grandpa would call us up and say, tomorrow I'm going to go pick blueberries, or tomorrow I'm going to go pick cherries. And we would just get ready and go. It was sort of a given. My grandparents loved to do that. They loved to jar foods. And my grandpa had a profuse garden. I mean, it was the most amazing garden I've ever seen. He just had a really big green thumb. So I grew up, helping shuck the peas, snapping the beans, all of those kind of things that aren't done so much anymore with kids,
Right.
I consider it a blessing, really. And so when I'm in my garden or canning or jarring, I feel like my grandparents are with me, and still it keeps them with me. And I love it. I absolutely love to do those kind of things. And lately I've had a couple of people asking me questions about how to, so that's fun too. Yeah. I don't feel like a pro at all. The more you do it, the more comfortable you get. I wouldn't, one girl called me a pro and I laughed, but I'm no pro, but I love the opportunity to practice, try new things. I'm making pies now. Pies were my grandma's thing. She was well known for her pies. And so I learned a little bit from her, but I was pretty young to be learning a lot about pie making from her, but I watched her a lot. Yeah. And that, memory is still in my mind. So I enjoy trying new things. I'm learning how to do a lattice crust and all of those things, right?
Yeah. Wow.
So, yeah.
How big of a garden did your grandfather have? Was it twice the size that we've tried? I know this year. And I tried.
It was really big, and he grew a lot of different things, and like green beans and peas. And when he would get peas, he would get an entire bushel basket full, like at once, not just grab a handful to eat raw or something. He would get large amounts. I always felt like he was blessed with a large garden. First of all, number one, he put a lot of work into it. He practically lived out there in his garden. So, he put the time and effort into it. It didn't just happen, right? But also he gave vegetables to widowed women who didn't have a husband. Yeah, there were lots of women from our church that didn't have a husband anymore to help support them, and he would just go down the road and take them vegetables. And he did farmers market sometimes. He sold some of his produce in Martin, the town of Martin, at a grocery store there. And besides giving some to our family, of course, while we were growing up. But my mom and dad also had a garden. So, yeah.
So you get, I've read.
His garden was profuse, like a jungle. I mean, it wasn't weedy. It was just so rich. is all I can think of, the word. Mhm.
Well, the soil here in Michigan is so good that I don't know if you
Yeah.
told me or I've read that Michigan is number 3 state in the union in overall fruit production. So before we moved here, or when I visited you and we were married and we come out here for vacations, I
Mhm.
never picked high bush blueberries. I've never picked grapes, for one thing, or
Yeah.
peaches. I still haven't picked cherries, though. We seem to keep missing the season. We missed it this last time, and we make some jelly. I don't think it's jam, right? It's jelly out of cherry. So,
I would say jelly, probably. Well, you can make cherry jam
that would
for
be
sure.
interesting.
The chunks
Yeah,
chunks of the cherries in it would be really good. I prefer
Yeah.
jam.
Mhm.
Grapes, of course, I make jelly because it's conquered and I get the seeds out of there and all of that. So
Yeah.
it ends up being
Yeah,
jelly, but I prefer jam that has chunks of the fruit in it.
yeah,
It's thicker and
right. Well, I had never heard of the Niagara grapes till I came here, and they taste the sweet. They are so good. It's so fun to take the little what do they give you us snippers or pliers to cut the clumps of grape off. So I mean, we've got in Michigan berries of some kind of fruit of some kind going all the way from mid to late spring to October or September anyway. So
at least September.
right.
Mhm.
We did have I think a dearth or drought of the peaches a few years ago, and it kind of made everybody go to the Georgia peach truck, which comes up here now, which is unfortunate because it doesn't help the peach farmer.
Yeah.
Stopped in Vicksburg to the fruit stand, this gentleman, and he had some pretty good looking peaches, actually. I don't know the name, but if you guys, anybody goes through there that's from the Fulton, Vicksburg area, go support him. We bought some really good cherries that weren't, it was 2 quarts, right? I think for $8. And I tasted a couple, they're very good. So we're gonna try to pit them and you're gonna try to make a jelly. I'm the picker, hunter gatherer, and you're the fruit maker. So what kind of encouragement did you get to doing this? And we're just starting out, but did your children encourage you? I know I've tried to. Where did the name Mama come from?
So of course, I love to make jam and I love to give it to family, to enjoy and some church friends and whatever, just to bless people. But everyone keeps saying, you ought to sell this, the classic line, right? You ought to sell
Yeah.
this. And I was like, I just like to make it and share it and make a loaf of bread to go with it and give it to someone as a gift, right? At Christmas, I do it for gifts.
Yeah.
But so many people kept saying you ought to try to sell this. So here I go, right? And fortunately, it's all kind of happened in the last week, pretty much. My our kids call me Mama Bear. And so that's where that came from. Our oldest son said, I can just picture a picture of a bear dipping his hands in a jam jar, so our daughter's working on a logo for me. And so we don't have labels or anything yet. I'm just sort of making temporary labels, but it'll be Mama Bear's Kitchen because it's not going to be just jam and jellies. It'll be pies and, maybe some other baked goods. I love to bake. So there's always, the breads that you can make. I could make some of my English muffin bread if people are interested. I can make sweet bread like zucchini bread and all those things. I grew up, my grandma made a lot of zucchini bread when I was a kid, probably because zucchini is so profuse.
It is around here. We grew a lot one year and we decided to take a break from zucchini.
Yeah. So we'll wait a couple of years on more zucchini, but anyway, so what was I saying? Anyway, there may be other baked goods. So Mama Bear's Kitchen is not just Mama Bear's jams and jellies, but the kitchen as a whole. And I hope, I hope to extend this. So, we'll get some fruits, get them in the freezer so that we can still continue to make pies and jams to make it available even in the fall and winter.
Yep.
And I'm thinking Thanksgiving is going to be a good time to sell pies, hoping, and people don't have to do that work themselves. I can do that, and I enjoy doing it. So I've got a good crust recipe, good pie recipe. So
Yeah.
And I can do things like if someone has a citrus allergy, I don't have to put the lemon in. If people have, are vegan, I can work with vegan butter, vegetable shortening, those kind of things. So I can definitely cater to people's dietary challenges. So
Good.
yeah.
What kind of jams do you have right now available so that people can know, and how much are they?
Okay, so I sell them by the half pint. That's the normal size jar that you normally see.
Yep, juice jar. Yep.
Jam sold in. It's $8 a jar.
Mhm.
And it is, fresh picked fruit. So we go and we pick the fruit and we make it. And so it's labor also included in that price, but
Yes.
freshness too. So
Lots of cuts and bruises in the bush.
Yes. So right now we have strawberry, plenty of strawberry, plenty of blueberry. We have a couple strawberry rhubarbs left, but I have more to make. Someone has offered me some more.
We hear
Hold
you.
on.
Yep, we got you.
My camera here. Okay, so someone has offered me some more rhubarb, so I have more strawberries I can work with. So more strawberry rhubarb, and I really love the consistency of that. It's really my favorite. I have a couple jars of raspberry. It is from last year, though I have to say, because they aren't out yet. But middle of August, right, middle of August, we'll have fresh raspberry jam and fresh peach jam from the Georgia peaches. Let's see. So strawberry, blueberry, strawberry, rhubarb, mulberry. Some of you might think, what do you do with all these mulberries? You make a pie and you make jam. Right?
Picking them. That's such a berry. Oh, but they make. Listen, everybody. They make the most amazing pie. The jam's pretty good, but the pie you wouldn't think is actually the jam. I mean, you can't. It's hard to compare, but in terms of comparing with other pies or comparing with other jams, I'd say the it's right up there with the other pies. The jams are
and people have tried it and they're very pleasantly surprised.
Yes.
It's sort of a fruit that people don't want to deal with, and so they
right. I know why.
They shove it to the side.
Yeah,
it's a mess. It is a mess. But also I have black raspberry jam, fresh. I'm trying to think. I guess that's all.
Well, hopefully you'll have black raspberry and blackberry together, because as the black raspberries go out, I've combined blackberries with it, and you and I maybe thought about some title. Maybe if somebody
we were thinking about calling it Black on Black.
Black on Black, okay.
Yeah.
Somebody out there has a better title than that. That's not bad. B&B. We will give you a free jar of jam if you can come up with a really good title for black raspberry, blackberry. So if you're watching that now, our broadcast, which is live Facebook, and then we'll put on YouTube, we'll give you a free jar of jam. And you've offered, haven't you, Amy? You've offered to take 50 cents off if somebody returns the jam jar, right?
Yes. So if you buy a jar of my jam, you eat it and enjoy it, and bring me back the jar with the ring. I can't reuse the flat top, but with the ring. I'll give you 50 cents off your next jar. So we appreciate that, because jars, that's the pricey part, one of the bad and the fruit part of making the jam. So if you bring it back, I would gladly take 50 cents off your jar. I'll keep track of who buys my jam, and you're welcome to do that. And
So can you show us a jar? You kind of decorated it up with a cloth.
Okay, so this is blueberry, and it's just fun. It makes it look nice to put a little country touch to it. I've got mulberry.
There it is. Mulberry.
So, and then strawberry. Strawberry seems to be a popular one.
It is good.
People like the strawberries. And then this is my favorite, is the strawberry rhubarb. So I did green because, the rhubarb part of it. But anyway, and raspberry. And what's this one? Black. There's the black raspberry. So,
Excellent. Now, here's another berry that we're thinking of doing, but we have to find some people. We're working, researching things. And we've got contacts here and then back in Maine of people who've helped us, and we'll mention their name in a moment, but elderberry, we know there's an elderberry wine. I've never had it, but these wines take a
So-
long time, but I don't know what kind of
On
jam
that-
it would make.
On that note, a lady came to our stand today and she said she makes elderberry jelly. She adds grape jelly to it. She mixes elderberry and grape.
Oh,
And she
wow.
said, I know where the tree is or the bush is or something,
No,
but
it's
I'm not
not.
telling you. And she smiled.
Yeah, well,
So
we
she
know
said,
where
I will
some
beat
are.
you to it, right? So she
Yeah.
was an older lady and, that was her jelly she liked to make. So she said, I can't tell you where my bush is.
That's fine, because it's almost like mulberries. There are so many elderberry bushes around here, and I have a secret stash. It may be hers too, but it's just down the road, and we need to pick them quickly because I believe that you pick them when they're really deep. It's not purple color; it's like a reddish violet color. But you have to that. It's almost like the pearberry. It's too bad
Mhm.
bush that I grew that we get some fruit this year, but nowhere near enough for jam. So maybe next
Yeah.
year, that
Yeah.
would be a great jam. I don't know if you made that when we lived in Maine, the pearberry or service berry
I made a pie once.
pie, combined it with blueberries or something, but they are delicious. Service berries are great.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're gonna try that. You will try that. I'll pick the berry. They're very, very delicate because you just touch them and they squish, they're squishy, but not as stainy as the mulberries. So we peach to look forward to, and
Raspberry.
yeah, raspberry, which is my favorite.
Both
And
shades of grape.
Yeah, both shades of great, Niagara, Concord. What we might do, if we can, I don't know how cost if it would be, but we did it with pies. We shipped in the smaller tart berries from Maine and made a pie one year, and we had our church family vote on which was better, the high bush Michigan berries or and the low bush one. I was surprised. I thought you guys would all be dedicated to the Michigan berry, but
It was because I served it hot with ice cream.
that's what Bill said. So, but what we might do is actually, even today, I'm kind of excited about that because I want to try myself, and instead of just saying, I'm from Maine and the Maine blueberry can be better jam, but not necessarily. So maybe we'll get some shipped to us. Ship anything out, right? Because of the law. You're not strictly a business yet. You're getting the cottage.
Okay, so
Explain
I
that.
work under the Cottage Foods Law, which means that I can serve fruit, jams and jellies and fruit pies that don't have a chance of spoiling. For example, I couldn't serve a custard pie or a cheesecake or something like that.
Right.
Unless I was licensed. And I can do this until I make $25,000. How about that? So yeah, so there's a list actually online of, it's not just jams and jellies and fruit pies. There's a list of things you can and cannot sell under the cottage foods industry ruling or whatever. And Michigan happens to have that, which is a blessing because many states do not. So many states are like licensed kitchen or out. So I just have to label that my things are not made in a licensed kitchen, but I make them all right here in a very clean and sanitary kitchen.
Yes, despite that we have 2 dogs.
Yeah. We keep everything very clean,
Yeah.
and I have to sell them directly person to person. I'm not able to ship right now.
Right.
Unfortunately, for people who live away that have been asking me, please ship me some. I can't do it
Until
without
you make that amount of money, correct?
Yeah, or until I decide that I want to make a full-time venture of this and really go full steam ahead. So we're still in the deciding stages on that, and we're just barely beginning and seeing if this is even feasible. So
Right. Not that we would do it, but I can't imagine how they how, I probably shouldn't say this being a pastor, but how do they confirm that? Does a postal worker pull the box open and say, I think I smell a jar of blueberries in here that shouldn't be shipping from Michigan? I mean, I don't know. Most people wouldn't bother trying that, but so that's great. So folks, if you have a chance and you live in the Kalamazoo, Battle Creek area, it would be worth your effort to get out here and buy some jams. We have mostly the strawberry rhubarb, right? Okay.
And we go to Kalamazoo at least once a week
Yeah.
and Battle Creek once a week. So we could, if you're in that area, we could probably bring it to you on that day we go. With gas, we don't, we're not going to make a special trip, but
Right.
if you're saying, oh, I want some jam and we happen to be going there, we can bring it to you.
I was actually going to mention that today, just in my thinking, the last couple of days, I'm thinking, well, we could deliver given those kind of circumstances. And we're always online with social media, with our shows and so forth. And so that's a great thing. Oh, and we did get an idea from a friend in Maine. We might as well mention her, Sarah Eastman, who found, I don't know if she does this, but making jellies out of flowers. I didn't read that article really good. I don't know if you had a chance. I sent it to you, but making.
I haven't yet either. So
that's really cool. Lilacs, dandelions. We know there's dandelion greens, which I love to eat. But
and of course there's rose hip. I'm familiar with rose hip jelly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't know that you do it here in Michigan, but there would be a chance that we could get somebody making some rose hips. Well, but we'll definitely get the Maine low bush blueberry and do that so that the difference, and maybe you can taste and see for yourself what berry is better. And so how much a jar? $8 a jar for a half a pint jar.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll be making some, and we're looking for the raspberry, more raspberry, peach, grape, and hopefully elderberry. So awesome. All right.
I'm planning to sell my pies.
Yes.
Strawberry, rhubarb, and blueberry for 20.
Okay.
Raspberry, peach, those are going to be a little more expensive because they're a little more expensive for us to pay for the fruit.
Yeah.
So I haven't figured out those prices, but all I do is break down my recipe for all the ingredients in the crust and the fruit filling, and then I figure out the price I have to pay for the tins, the box to put it in, all of that stuff. So that has to be added in. But anyway,
I think that's more labor.
If people are interested, they can personal message us on Facebook. We're both on Facebook.
Yep.
Or interested in a pie. I don't make them ahead. You can call me and say, gosh, I need it for Saturday night. I'm having my family over or whatever. And I can, make sure it arrives to you, hot and ready to go. So
that's good. Now, you may do, instead of just a double crust blueberry, you might do an open face, which is a good fruit pie with whipped cream. I know my.
Yeah, I can't. I'm really not supposed to do that with the whipped cream.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, unless.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless somebody comes here and picks it up. I don't know if you can. Well, we'll.
Yeah. Yeah.
You think our government would be more business friendly, but thankfully Michigan is more so than Maine, fortunately.
They're just worried about things being sold that might spoil or whatever. And then
that's true.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can also call us. Our phone numbers, or you could just give them to you. They're on her Facebook page, or I'll put them on there. My wife has a Facebook page. Actually, it's off mine, but she can share it too. It's called Mama's Jams, Jellies, and Pies to Order. So thank you, Amy, for being on the show today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we want to thank, before we go, let's thank the first person who bought jam for you today, and that was
Anita Shoup.
Anita Shoup. She bought 2 jars for her hubby, and then Mark and Becky bought a jar. And we want to thank Sarah Eastman for the idea of the flour jelly, and also Linda Bryant for the zucchini that she's encouraged us to make something out of that. So, yeah.
And I've had a lot of encouragement from people online going, this is exciting. This is so good. And I want to thank everybody for that, and thank my kids for the encouragement too. And my hubby to, encourage me to give it a shot, and all 3 kids, and, just really supportive, and all the people that have said, this is great. And so I appreciate that too. It means a lot.
Amen. And there are a couple of venues that we're trying to get to. There are some we call not craft fair. Well, we do have one in the fall, our church, which I know you'll have a table there as well as
Yes.
show here will have a table, but there are, what do we call them? I can't think now, where they sell fruits and vegetables on a Saturday. I know Vicksburg has one.
Farmers markets.
Farmers market, right? There was some other town nearby too that was gonna have a farmers market. So we'll try to get there. And if you see my wife and I or my wife there, you just go on over, buy a jar of jam or jelly to order pie. So, all right.
Yeah.
God bless you. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.